The next principle, though, is commit to self-improvement. That lifelong learning you're talking about. Yeah. Commit to self-improvement. Now, to me, man, this one is tough because I have these areas in my life, I'm sure you don't, but I do, where I say, I might be the best husband there's ever been. I'm awesome. And I feel comfortable. My wife has said, honey, you're doing a good job. And I'm like, yes, I just put on the perfect birthday party. The pony showed up, my daughter was there, the slides were there, we had a perfect party. Or I am God's gift to business. I had a great month, a great quarter, the business is great, I sold the company, whatever. And then I realize I'm not committed to self-improvement anymore, and I'm kind of drifting. Talk to me about your commitment to self-improvement throughout your career.
You know, self-improvement needs, it's almost like everyone needs an object of their affection. And so does self-improvement. Self-improvement is not just for me, but it's for all of those around me. And if I care about those around me, then I want to do those types of things that would allow me to be there with them, not only physically, but emotionally, intellectually. So I'm willing to do those types of things that would allow that, even to the point of health. You know, I had to make a decision, and my wife and I came to the decision, maybe, I think it's about 8 months ago, that I would no longer put our food on a plate in the home. We'll always put our food on a saucer. Because I'm the type of guy who came from the background, you eat everything on the plate. You don't leave food, you don't waste food. So rather than having to deal with that, rather than having a plate full of food, I just have a saucer full of food.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're, in terms of self-improvement, I'm kind of...
You weren't thinking about that, were you?
What's
food.
that?
You weren't thinking about food, were you?
No.
But that's part of self-improvement.
Well, you almost make me feel guilty because you're saying if you want to improve for the people around you, you need to self-improve.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have an object of that.
Well, I am now feeling horrible about my husband's skills, and I'm going to go after this and improve that. So, and I express gratitude for your opportunities. This is something that I want to hammer home. I don't want to steal your thunder, but I have to say this because it's powerful. You are one of the most grateful people I've ever met. You constantly are thanking people, and I don't get it. I don't get it because you think, you've heard all these things. I've heard, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And the rich people got there by kind of screwing over some guy on the way up there. People stepped on others to the way to the top. Rich people are all just a bunch of, we have these few worldviews we have. We watch these TV shows that reinforce it. This show is about the rich guy and how much money he can spend on his pool and how abusive he is to his staff. Or, you see these kind of shows there. But when I meet successful people, they're not like that. It might be the Hollywood version of what they're like, but they're not like that. Now, catch someone doing something right. The next principle here. Catch someone doing right. This science of personal achievement. How do you go from here to there? These soft skills we all have to know. Catching someone doing something right. I know that you're quick. You do this a lot. You will compliment. So he will look at a face as flawed as mine, and he will find something nice to say. You'll say, I like this about you today, or hey, I like that tie. Or
it's like I remember the guy that's one of the camera guys right here, right now. I know the audience can't see him, but he's well dressed. He had on. The first time I met him, I think I told him, I said, I know you're going to be okay. I said, you're going to make it because you look sharp. You're right there. It wasn't the clothes as much as it was the persona that was around all of that simply said, I am focused, I know where I'm going, and it's going to happen, period. And I didn't have to tell him that, but I wanted to tell him that because he has to make decisions to do what he does.
There was a story that if you're watching this, you get a chance to look it up. It's phenomenal. But apparently, LeBron James was playing sports in a parking lot with a bunch of people. And one man saw him, and he was the traveling basketball coach. And he said, you have the potential to be the best player that's ever played the game. This is like at a young age. He was, 13, 14. And that whole idea of being the greatest, like somebody told him, and it sparked that something. And so he started to do the things. He's like, well, if I'm going to be the world's greatest, what kind of things would I do? And so, the world's greatest, when it snows, he's going to shoot free throws regardless of whether it snows or not. And so throughout his career, he was, well, if I'm going to be the greatest, I'm going to be the first player at the gym in the state of Ohio. I'm going to be the last player to leave in the state of Ohio. I'm going to lift more weights than anyone. And he had this mentality of like, I am going to be the greatest. And I think it's a powerful gift you can give somebody when you can look into somebody's life and say, you can do that. Or
I mean, that is absolutely, totally one of the great gifts that we can give to another human being. When we can look at another person, look in their face and tell them, I see incredible potential. I remember Miss Mary Maxey, my first grade teacher. I didn't want to go to school the first day because I lived with my great-grandparents. My great-grandmother was still alive at the time. And they were just incredible people that just loved me. Literally loved me.
What was her name?
Pearl. Mama Pearl. And Papa Joe and Mama Pearl. And, you know, that's where I lived. And why would I want to leave that good house and go to a school with people I didn't know? You know, but I remember she finally convinced me through a real labor of stiff love, convinced me that you got to go to school. But after she convinced me, she took me by the hand, and together we walked down this road to the school. And she presented me to Miss Mary Maxey. Mm. And she said, well, little professor, how are you? Now, that may not mean anything to a lot of people. But in a world that I grew up in, even the school was surrounded by a cotton field. The teacher said to me, little professor, how are you? It stuck in my head. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, so just choosing those two words, little professor, it sent something into my future that was absolutely necessary.